Next up is an item I picked up for myself. When I initially saw it, I was going to not even ask about it, but then I decided, oh, just for the heck of it, I asked him if he'd take 10 bucks for this, and he said he would. So I took it for 10 bucks. This is a Panavice, which is a trade name for this type of vise. This is used in the electronics industry. And what this is a vise for holding PC boards, for working on them. It's got V-groove edges here that the edge of a PC board will sit right in. Well, this is the only circuit board I had handy, and it's a little large, really right at the limit of the capability of this thing. But the idea is, you know, you can mount your circuit board you're working on in this, and that gives you the ability to, let's see, we'll tilt this. There we go. Oh, I've got it in there upside down, so the idea is if I had it in the other way, then I could easily work on unsoldering components. That's basically what that's all about. And then it's got a suction cup base, so the idea is that you use this on-off suction cup ability to stick this down to your workbench. But you get the gist of it. There was a second one there. I wish I had bought that while I was there, but I ended up not getting it. It had long tubular arms, so the jaws could be spread apart much further, and that would have probably been a good one for a larger board like this. And I actually tried to go back to this pick, but I've been unable to coordinate with the guy who's running this estate sale, and quite a few people have been through there since I was there and picked a lot of the other stuff that was there. So this next item is the first thing I bought. I spotted this, and I asked him if he knew what machine this went to, because there was some machines still there, but there weren't any lathes there that you know, were even close to the size. There was only one lathe there, and it was a much smaller lathe. It was one of those combination lathes with a milling attachment on it, uni lathe or something like that. Anyways, which was sold. Anyways, so this is a collet closer by the looks of it. It certainly looks like it's got the threads for 5C. So I believe it's a 5C collet closer for some lathe. So this would have gone into the back end of the headstock, and I really wish I could identify it. It has a interesting look to it. There was a hardened horizontal milling machine at this pick. Probably is still there, because the horizontal machines are kind of a tough sell. But I don't see any markings or anything to distinguish what this might be. So if anybody thinks they recognize that, drop me a comment. I'd appreciate knowing, because I'm definitely going to let it go. But, you know, again, initially I wasn't that interested, but I said, you know what? I said, you take $5 for this, I'll take a chance on it for $5. And he said, yeah. So I got this for $5. If I can identify what this goes to, and it's a relatively decent lathe, I could probably make somebody really happy and still make money on this thing. So this next item I saw leaning up against the wall on top of a workbench, and the indicator on it caught my eye. And I explained that I really had not much interest, but I really liked this piece just because of the indicator that's on it. So we kind of went back and forth, and in the end, I was even saying I'd be willing to buy just the indicator and take the indicator off of this, because my impression was that this jig that this is on is shop made, that this is something that the individual who owned this stuff made specifically for some specific measurement, and that this wasn't original to this. I'm not sure whether or not I'm right about that, though, because upon closer examination, well, let's take a look at this indicator that I got so impressed by. It's an Ames indicator from Waltham, Massachusetts. But what I thought was cool as heck was, first thing that caught my eye was the size. This has got to be at least a 3-inch diameter face on this thing. Okay, and it is a thousandths indicator. And then when I looked at it closer, when I thought about taking it off of this in case he took me up on my offer, I realized, oh, wait a minute, this is a very unique indicator in that the body of the indicator and this part up here is all one assembly. And what we've got is we've got a rod that moves up and down in there. This is a long travel indicator. So there's a protective plastic tube on here right now. If I pull this tube off, we can see what we've got a long throw indicator, all right? A long travel. So this is a 6-inch travel indicator to the thousandths. If this was a Starrett, the indicator alone would be worth some serious coin. Unfortunately, it's not a Starrett. But I'm really kind of curious if anybody's ever seen something like this before. Let me get this plastic off of here and see if we can't get a wider shot. All right, so this is basically what we've got here. So the more I look at this, the more I'm convinced that this is something that was made special by somebody. And they just mounted this Ames indicator on here. They use some interesting choices here. These precise leveling feet that they made here are brass, and yeah, there's a lot of brass pieces on here. So, and no markings whatsoever. I think I'm most likely going to just take this apart, and I don't know if I'm even going to keep the indicator for myself or sell the indicator, and then the rest of this is just going to be scrap. Well, this is a good size hunk of aluminum here. I might be able to make something with that down the road. Next item I picked up was this Myers Gage Pin Set, and I got this for 20 bucks, which is a heck of a deal, even though it's actually an incomplete set. It's missing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pins. But other than that, you know, I'm assuming that I'm going to just make the quick assumption that these are all in the right locations. And then there's actually some extra pins in bags here. So we have 2 pins in this bag, 2 in this bag, 2 in this bag, and 1 in this bag. But of course, none of these are all spares of sizes that are already in here. Couldn't be that lucky. Well, I just went through all of my spare gauge pins that I have, including the old set that I got a few weeks ago that's really incomplete. And unfortunately, do not have any of these missing ones. But the good news is it's a Meyer set, and new Meyer pins are pretty easy to find online. So if I want to make this set complete, it shouldn't be too difficult. Not like those Johansson blocks. So I figure I got a pretty good deal on that set of Myers gauge pins. And then I found this set. And because this set was missing a couple, I also got a really good deal on this one. This is another Meyer set. I think I got this for 20 or 30 bucks. But what I really like about this set is that it's the larger size pins, which I don't have any once you get up into this range. So these start at 626, and looks like it go up to 750, 3/4 of an inch, and it looks fairly complete. I spoke too soon. That almost looks like a dowel pin. I wonder if this is like a homemade set. Hey, that literally is a dowel pin. Something tells me that's not going to be 701 thousandths, so I'm not sure why he's got wooden dowel pins holding these empty spots. What do you got here? 631. It's already in there. 654. Also already in there. And 655. I wonder what G means versus M. I mean, M might mean minus, right? Or maybe M means Meyer. And maybe G means that it's just a ground pin that he made. I don't know. Well, that's kind of disconcerting. But hey, you know, I didn't pay a heck of a lot for this set. Thank goodness. Well, this is supposed to be a plus set. And, you know, 665 And it is just over 665, so. Alright. Next item is this unidentified tailstock. I got this for 20 bucks because I didn't want to spend too much on it because I have no idea what it belongs to. Didn't find anything else there that this tailstock seemed to fit. You know, it looks like it's a tailstock for either a dividing head or a super spacer or something like that. I don't know if it's typical for them to have this type of a setup, but this has like a dovetailed way, so you can loosen this bolt right here and you can actually slide this. It's all scraped, so it seems like it's pretty decent quality. And then we get a locking bolt on the top here, and we've got an adjustment knob right here that allows the center to move in and out. It also appears to be on a riser block, held to the riser block via these 4 cap screws. And then it looks like this would just be held down, you know, with some regular studs on the bed of the mill. So I have no idea who makes this, and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to use it. It says here on this big piece of paper, somebody just said special headstock. I'm sorry, special foot stock. I meant tail stock. Special foot stock. September 11th, 2003. 5.5-inch center line from base, 1.5-inch riser, 4 inches from baseline. So, all right. So they're saying that this riser block is 1.5 inches. So from this line to the center line, they're saying is 4 inches, and from the base to the center to the center line is 5.5 inches. So I'll have to see whether or not I could use that with any of my dividing heads or super spacers. Alright, so coming down to the wire here, we're almost done with this pick. Next up, there was a bookcase there loaded with books and catalogs, and I went through, and a lot of the subjects were a little too technical for me, and actually this book right here might even be a little bit out of my realm, but I figured, hey, you know, if it was cheap enough, I'd take a chance on it. So this is the 1994 Handbook of Dimensional Measurement, 3rd edition. So this is a whole textbook on measurement. So, I mean, it's a heck of a thing. But, I mean, like, I just happen to open up to the page right there, and they're talking about the use of an optical flat for inspecting the flatness and parallelism of the measuring surfaces of a micrometer. Oh, look at that. See, I learned something new right already. So, I asked him about the books, and he said $2 a piece. And I said, well, how about $2 for the pair? Because I said, you know, this is a textbook. But this one, although it says it's the Brown and Sharp Handbook of Metrology, in reality what it is, it's got a master price list that was with it, effective 93. What it really is it's really just a Brown and Sharp catalog. So the Handbook of Metrology, my butt. It's more of a, you know, it's a catalog. I do not have a Brown and Sharp catalog, so this will come in handy to have here in the shop, so I can go through and look up various things. Matter of fact, just for the heck of it, since I'm near the page here, I wonder whether or not the height checks are in this catalog. Does not say what year. Doesn't say what year this is. Actually, 2003. Somebody wrote on here. I don't know if that's. Well, this says February '92 on this, on the binding. So I don't know. Oh, there's those doghouse mag bases that I have that are kind of cool. You can see a few different variations of those. Look, there's the magnicators, the little suckers. There it is. All right, so we got the 5842 height transfer gauge. Well, that's a 5840 that I've got, so I don't know. That's the 18-inch and the 24-inch. That's too small. That's actually different. That's a different thing. All right, hold on. Oh, this is more. Oh, here we go. Okay. 5840 right there. Okay, so this is a 48-inch. I was calling it a 50-inch, but it's actually, so it's 50 inches overall height, but they're saying that the working range is 48 inches. All right, so the full part numbers are 599-5840-48, and he must have looked it up in the price list and put it right here in the catalog so he would know. $1,290.80. How do you like them apples? Oh, that's why he wrote April 5th, 1993 on the front of the catalog, because those prices that he wrote down next to items that he had were in this, came out of this 1993 master price list. So catalog's a 92, price guide's a 93. Hey, boy, do I even want to look? That means that probably whatever I find in this catalog that has a price written down next to it, he probably had. So there would probably be indications of some of the things that I missed out on. Oh, I don't think I want to know. This next item is probably the best item of this whole pick. Matter of fact, I actually already have somebody interested in buying this. One of the Steve's Basement guys came by the other day to pick up a couple things and ended up mentioning this to him, and he wanted to see it. So I told him I still hadn't decided yet exactly what I'm going to do price-wise on this. But what this is this is a big cylinder square, and I didn't know who made it. There's a part number on the side of the box here, but again, this individual was pretty meticulous about keeping records. So what he's got is he's got in here March 12th, 2008. Got a note here, says that it's 50 pounds. I believe it. And then it's on page 119 of the 1984 catalog. And then he says same price. So I don't know what he meant by that, but here it is right here. And it's the 052-750-012, which is a 12-inch high, 4-inch diameter square, 50 pounds. And back in 1984, it was $235. I don't know if you can see that. Now, I checked, and they still have this in the Fowler catalog today, but it's a little bit different. For one thing, they don't show it in a wooden box. The other thing about it, which is interesting, I'm going to get this one out and show you what this doesn't have that the new one appears to have. Oh. Gotta eat your Wheaties. Use this thing. On the new one, they actually have a handle that goes on here. Now I do see these holes. They do have these holes, but they don't appear to be threaded. And then if I flip this up this end, same deal. Couple of holes, but they're not threaded. So I don't think you could put a handle on this thing. I wouldn't trust, like a slip fit or whatever grabbing that. Now this is marked Poland, MKSM 315. This is Viz Rava, Poland, which is interesting. But it's identical, the way it's got those little holes in it and everything, to the one in the photograph. I find it hard to believe that somebody took a Viz import Polish cylindrical square of the same exact dimensions of what's supposed to be in the box, found a case that still has the sticker on it that says cylindrical square 12-inch with the Fowler part number right there. So I doubt that this is somebody got an import and stuck it in here and they're trying to pass it off. I think more likely what the situation is that Fowler imported these to sell through their catalog. This says price includes fitted case. It doesn't say anything about where it's made, so we just tore this page right out of the catalog. So it's just a really cool thing. I can't really justify keeping it myself. I have a cylindrical square that's probably about 6 inch tall, and it's a little bit larger in diameter than this. Certainly a lot more easy for me to manage than this 50-pounder. I can see why this would get scratched. God. Getting it in and out of here is not easy. I wonder if there's a trick to this. Oh, Steve, you moron. Just figured this out. This tray comes out. That's how you get it out, Steve. Well, that certainly makes more sense. That's also how I'm going to get it in. Put it on the cradle. Well, I'll tell you, I don't know how long I would want to trust these ropes. They get the slightest bit frayed and I'd be wanting to change them out. So yeah, I'm probably going to sell it. And luckily, I got somebody local who's interested in it. Because this thing weighs 50 pounds and it would cost probably about 75 bucks to ship it. Alright, so we're almost done here. Got 3 more items. These 2 are actually the same thing. I spotted one of these early when I was looking around, and I kept an eye on it, thinking, well, maybe I'll make an offer on that. And then later on, I spotted a second one on the shelf, so I was like, this. I think this is actually literally the last thing I bought. We were on our way out the door, loading the stuff I had bought into my vehicle, and we went back downstairs to where these were, and I said, hey, I'll give you 20 bucks for these 2 cool mist reservoirs. And I said, but I'd like to get that gallon of liquid that goes with it. So then I had to go over and show him on another shelf where I spotted this full gallon unopened of cool mist, Formula 78. So this is specifically for these systems right here. So for those of you who don't know what a cool mist system is, it's a coolant system that you can use on a lathe, milling machine, whatnot, and it uses this liquid and air pressure to atomize the liquid. And the idea is that it's supposed to give superior cooling ability to flood coolant. So instead of just flooding the cutter with coolant, you're spraying this mist onto it and cooling it that way. It's supposed to be less messy too, I guess. So I actually got one of these quite a while back that I hadn't put on a machine yet. So now I'm going to have actually 3 of these. Now these are still available. This exact same unit is still available. I think the Travers tool catalog I just got in actually showed these. But then I noticed that there was a second one available, another model that's a little bit more expensive. And they look almost identical. But the difference was I noticed the second model mentioned that it was OSHA compliant. So I think these old ones right here are probably not OSHA compliant. I'm not sure exactly what they need to make them OSHA compliant. I don't really care because I don't need that in my shop. But the good thing is that the nozzles are on here. Okay, both of them have their nozzles, which is nice. Noga actually makes a series of mag bases with specifically designed to work with this type of a system. Now, I just realized I heard something rattling around inside this one. There's nothing in this one. And I just looked in here, and lo and behold, there's a little mag base in here with the clamp. So, sure enough, I could tell that's gonna fit this. So I don't know whether or not this is an original mag base for one of these, but it certainly would work perfectly fine. And a while back, I obtained this strange mag base from somewhere, I forget where, And I looked it up online and realized that this is actually a mag base specifically for some sort of a cooling system. So, you know, might have to change something on here, but I could also use this with one of these if I want. Did I mention that this is 35 bucks a gallon online? So 20 bucks for these two with this, even if this wasn't in there, is a good deal. So I'm happy about that. This next item is something that when I saw it on the shelf, I actually had to laugh, because I remember thinking to myself, when I first saw one of these about a month earlier and had gotten it for next to nothing, I remember thinking to myself, I never saw one before. And I said, oh, I wonder if I'll ever see one again. And then lo and behold, on this pick, what's sitting there on the shelf is another one. And I got this for a song, and this one is actually in much nicer shape than the last one. It's a little bit different though. This is a Federal model 36B-6. I'll have to check what the model number is on the other one in a minute. This has got the Y-shaped slot. So for those of you who do not know what this is an inspection tool. And the way this would work is with these three parts with the points facing out like this in this triangle configuration. This is set up to actually do ID inspection work. So the idea would be you would take a ring gauge of the appropriate size, you would calibrate this to the ring gauge, you would zero this, and then you'd remove the ring gauge and you would put your part that you want to test the size of and see if it's in spec on here, and you would have the indicator here is a plus or minus indicator, so you would see whether or not, and this is in half thousandths, 0.0005, and this would tell you whether or not you were, you would know what your tolerance is, and you would know if it's plus or minus a certain amount that you were good to go. If not, then that part would have to either go back for rework or reject it altogether, whatever. So the idea was this was designed for somebody to sit there and just go from, grab one part, test, put it in. So the idea is you pull down on the lever and that brings this up, and then you put the part on there, release the lever, and you can adjust the tension that's applied via these controls down here. And this indicator looks brand new. The body of this thing is in great shape. This is just in really nice shape. These were crazy expensive when they were new, like over $2,000. They do occasionally still come up for sale on eBay. There's some rub here on the case. Notice that it's at this fixed angle, so basically sitting at a bench to work at this particular angle. In contrast to that, I'll show you the other one. So this is a 36B-10. Okay, so this is in the plus configuration, the tracks, and you notice the track doesn't go up here because this is the moving part on this one. It's the opposite of that one. And initially we thought maybe that it was supposed to have a fourth one of these here, but I have since gone and checked, and apparently no, that's not the case. These can be reversed. All right. But the interesting thing about this one is, this one, you see it's horizontal right now, but it's of a design that you can loosen these set screws and you can actually tilt this up. So you can adjust the viewing angle, for lack of a better term, that you want to have this at. But it works on the same principle as the one over here. Now, this one currently has this indicator on it that I found at that same pick, so I stuck this indicator on here, but I'm not sure whether or not, yeah, see, this indicator here is probably not the correct indicator for this. I guess it could be. It's got these two red lines that can be set, so you could set your limits or your plus and minus, but this is not a plus minus indicator. This goes 0 all the way around, so I think maybe there might be another indicator that I got from that pick that might be a better fit for this. This is a thousandths indicator. So again, I just stuck this on here. to show how this works, but I don't think that's the correct indicator for this. And I think also you could probably put a comparator on here. So anyway, so now I got 2 of these darn things. All right, so that's going to close out this pick. I hope you guys found this interesting, all of this stuff that I came across. And hopefully yeah, you guys are hanging in there on some of these long picks. And I appreciate any comments. And if you like these videos, please hit the like button. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. Take care.